Okay, so what is a scatter plot? A scatter plot is a graph of plotted points that shows a relationship between two sets of data. So here is a picture, an example of what a scatter plot looks like. And if we read about it, about what information is shown on this scatter plot, it says Susie went to the mall and surveyed shoppers to see how many items they purchased and the total amount of money they spent at the mall. She then created a scatter plot below. So, like in the definition, it is a relationship between two sets of data. So the two sets of data that she was looking at is how many items were purchased and the total amount of money spent. Okay, and those can always be found at the y-axis and the x-axis. Okay, so those are the two sets of data that she was looking at. Okay? So she'd go up to one person, how many items did you buy? How much was your total? And then she'd plot that on the graph. Okay, and she would continue to do that until she had this whole graph. First question asks us, how many shoppers did Susie survey? How could we figure out how many shoppers she surveyed? Yeah, counting the number of dots. Each dot represents one person that she asked. So go ahead and count the dots or count the points. Anybody get them counted? We got one person saying 16. Do you guys agree with that? Yep. Okay, so how many people did she survey? 16 people. Good. So also it says scatter plot shows the relationship between two sets of data. So this next question is kind of talking about the relationship part. Does the number of items purchased seem to have an effect on the amount of money a shopper spent? So is there a relationship there between the number of items and the total amount spent? Does it have an effect? I have some people shaking their head yes. We all think yes. I agree. Yes. Okay. Yes. What could you tell me? What could you tell me about the number of items and then the total amount spent? Morning. Morning. So what would that relationship be between the two? Anybody? Aaliyah, what's your thoughts?
Just looking at the bottom of the chart,
Yeah.
the numbers and stuff, that's the number of items. Notice how the total cost is just going up.
So what you're trying to say is when you buy more items, you're going to spend more money, right? Do we see that in the graph? The more items that they're buying, the more money they're spending. Okay, so yes, there is a relationship, and we can just write it as simple as that. More items means more money spent. So that would be our relationship. And if we think about that, that just makes sense, right? When you go to the store, if I buy one item, I'm probably not going to spend as much as if I go and buy like 20 items. It really depends on how much they cost. But for the most part, the more items you buy, the more money you'll spend. Okay. Good. So looking at these scatter plots, we have three different things we can look at. We can look at if they're positive association, negative association, or no association. Any ideas on what you guys think for this first one? You guys think it's positive, negative, or no association? What? Positive. What gives you that clue that it's going to be positive? The numbers aren't negative. Can we see that the dots are kind of going in this upward motion? Yes. Those things tell us that it's positive. So for our fill-in, it says two variables have a positive association when the variables move together. And for example, one variable, so we'll just say our x variable, increases. Okay, so that would be like the number of items. As the number of items increases, the other variable, which is our y, the amount spent, what happened to the amount spent? As the items were increasing, what happened to the amount spent? It was also increasing. So we're going to write increases. So when we have a positive association, it's going upward. As one thing is going up, the other thing is going up. Okay, so negative. What would negative look like then? Two variables have a negative association when the variables move in opposite directions. Okay. For example, as one variable increases, so let's just say our x variable. So when one variable increases, the other variable, any guesses on this? Decreases. Yeah, it's going down. So we'll put decreases. And you can see it here. You see how a lot of the points are going downward. This is kind of like slope, if you remember back. Well, I guess not really remember back. We've been working on slope. So here's positive, negative association, no association. So what is that? When two variables have no association, when the change in one variable has no effect on the second variable. And if we look at what the graph looks like, you can see the dots are all over the place. There's no up, down, none of that. So let's look at some examples real quick without any graphs. These are just words. Describe the type of association you'd expect to see between the following. So, again, our two pieces of information that we're looking at for this first one, the hours a person studies and the number of states they visited. So that's the two pieces of data that we're looking at, comparing. The more hours I spend studying, what effect does that have on the number of states I visited? Am I going to visit more states because I studied more? Am I going to visit less states because I studied more? Or is there no relationship there? There's no effect. No effect. I have one person saying no effect. Is there an association there? No, you could study all you want and still be in the same state and only visit one state or live in the one state. So there's no association here. Okay, next one, we're comparing the hours a person studies to their grade on their exam. So the more hours I spend studying, what do we expect to see on our grade?
Like a higher score.
A higher score is going up, right? So as one variable is going up, the other one's also going up, which means, is it positive, negative, or no association? Positive. Good. Okay. And our last one. So hours a person studies, that is such a crooked line, and the hours spent watching TV. Okay. As I continue studying, as I study more, am I going to spend more time watching TV, less time watching TV, or maybe they don't have any association?
Probably less.
Probably less. Why do you think probably less?
Because they're using the time to study.
Yeah. If I'm spending my time studying, I don't have as much time to watch TV. So that would go down. So as I'm spending a lot of time studying, the hours watching TV will go down. So this is going to be a negative association. Okay, and we are almost done. Let's look at this bottom part. So this bottom part, we're going to go ahead and either write positive, negative, or no association. I'm going to abbreviate. So number 1, is it positive, negative, or no association? Positive. Do you guys agree? Yes. Notice it's going up. This is positive. And I'm going to abbreviate positive. You can too. Next one. What do we think here? Positive. Good. Oh. Ooh, positive. Good. What was it? Negative. Good. Negative. I heard it. And the last one.
No association.
No association. I want to abbreviate this one. Might not be a good word. Okay, so we got positive, 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 negative, negative, no association. Okay, so we have those, but there's also one other thing I want to talk to you guys about besides positive and negative. So a while back, we talked about linear and nonlinear. So I also want you to describe these as either linear or nonlinear. Does anybody remember what linear means or what it looks like on a graph? Has the word line in it. So we're looking for a straight line. So number 1, is it linear or nonlinear? Is it straight? So pretty much you're looking to see if the points are going in mostly a straight pattern. So this would be linear. Okay. And I drew the lines to kind of help determine. So number 2, linear. It's in a straight line. Notice how number 3 is kind of curved. So this is going to be non-linear. Sorry, we're running a little short on time, so we're going to kind of go through this quick. This one is a negative and it's linear because it's that straight line. Number 5, it has a slight curve to it, so it is non-linear. And the last one we won't worry about. It just needs to be no association. So, any questions about this? Positive, negative, no association, linear or nonlinear? Okay. On the back, or not on the back. If it was on paper, it'd be on the back. But down below, what you're going to do, you're going to tell me if it's positive, negative, or no correlation or association. Correlation and association are the same. And then you have to tell me if it's linear or nonlinear. So just like we did right above, you can abbreviate if you'd like. And I want you to go through 1 through 10.